What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. And it is, of course, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're doing any sort of sports betting or DFS this NFL or NBA season, make sure that is where you're getting it done. We are here to recap week 16 of the NFL season. You heard that right. Yeah, I know, Matt. It's almost over, but we've still got a couple more weeks. We've still got the playoffs, so it's going to be a lot of fun. How are you guys doing, though, before we get into this?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not going to lie. On some levels, this may be a little bit of a struggle episode, just in terms of the setup. Of course, I'm not in my usual situation. I'm on the Apple headphones. I thought that I had the setup to have my mic on my laptop. I don't got the right cord. The laptop takes different stuff. So I'm on the phone here in Grandma's office because I also traveled today because we're visiting. I got the very cool desktop background behind me, an elite screensaver. And I'm in a very good mood because the Panthers won a massive game today, if I'm being honest. And I'm about ready for the playoffs to go ahead and start. As far as the last couple of weeks go, I think we could honestly just call the regular season now and get this thing going.
Yeah, I bet you would like to start the playoffs, wouldn't you, considering you're currently in the playoffs?
On some level, the playoffs have already started.
Right.
Like, I know it's the regular season, but, these are more eliminations games than some actual playoffs have elimination games. You know what I mean? Like, once December rolls around and teams start getting eliminated, like, the playoffs are sort of here on some level. I mean, there only is really a few teams that are still alive in the race, honestly. Like, in the hunt has really, really shrunk, and now the Ravens are out of it. They're eliminated.
They need a lot of help. I don't think they're entirely eliminated. The Panthers would have needed a ton of help, but they're not entirely eliminated if they had lost. So there's definitely a lot of teams that are like playing for a ton, or at least home field, or like whether or not you're going to get a bye is very, very real. So I agree. Like, the stakes are already pretty high. It's not like you go from just normal regular season games and then just jump into the playoffs. Like, things get higher and higher stake, and then you have the final week of games, which is always kind of a toss-up if it's
playing meaningful football at this point is like a huge achievement for especially a team like Carolina. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's not the playoffs, but
explain that real quick. Why is it so meaningful for a little franchise like Carolina?
Because you're a little old franchise, man.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be Christmas Day, and the Panthers are leading the division and playing serious ball. So it's been a long time, dude. It's been since I was in high school, since that's the case.
It is going to be Christmas Day, and Merry Christmas to all the listeners out there. Hopefully you spend it with some friends or family, and if you don't have either of those,
to stay hot, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is our last record for at least a week. But if you won't be spending it with us, and if you don't have any friends or family, well, maybe you can come back to this episode and listen to me say Merry Christmas.
That's
Happy
true.
Hanukkah,
or you could check out the Stay Hot Patreon. And you could asking people.
You have no friends. Consider something to the Stay Hot Patreon.
I was trying to make this a warm and cozy moment, but I don't think I succeeded.
No. We're just too much. We're just massive capitalist dickheads at this point, and all we care about is the dollar signs.
But you guys want to talk about Seahawks because that was a crazy. We're going to start around Seahawks because that shit was nuts. Okay, I'll say this before we even get into anything. You guys think the Rams got hosed on that 2-point conversion?
No, I don't think they got hosed. I mean, I don't think it's the spirit of the rule. I don't think it's the spirit of the rule. Like when they were writing all this shit down and they were trying to think of like, well, what's a fumble? Like, what happens if you throw it backwards? Like, I just don't think that's the scenario they had in mind with like a little swing pass or whatever. But at the end of the day, like if it goes backwards, it is a fumble. Like we got to draw that line somewhere. We have super slow motion for a reason, and it's utilized. And like if we see the pass goes backwards, then like what better time than that to call it a fumble? You know what I mean? Like what is? I don't want to get into measuring intent. Like
the whistle at the end, like whether the player's picking it up. Obviously, I mean, I do like spiritually know it was not a fumble, but like technically, like of course it was. Like it did go backwards, which was crazy.
Okay.
And it going backwards and then hitting somebody's helmet and then going into the end zone. I mean, like that's just crazy. But the whistle did blow, and to have him pick it up, like McVay after this game was pissed, dude. He was not happy about that or the Puka stuff, quite frankly. But this was, I won't lie.
I don't understand refs whistles.
If I was...
Well, someone made an explanation on this that like the whistle is not necessarily a precedent. Like it signals that the ball is dead, but if the ball is not in anyone's possession, then it goes to like the person who is actively in attempt to gain possession.
That's
I don't think they got that screwed because they got it was a fumble that got picked up in the end zone. Like I don't know, it was weird, but like I just didn't feel like the Rams got like screwed by the refs in that situation.
No,
like is it unlucky? Of course,
I don't want to make it out like they got. Here's the thing: like in the moment, of course, I was cheering for it to be Seahawks pick it up and it's a tie ball game because that's way more interesting.
Of course.
I do wonder if, like, okay, maybe the rules say so, and like, let's be real, you know, Charbonnet wasn't like trying to like pick up the ball on like a fumble. He was picking it up to like give it to the ref because he thought it was a pass too. But I think maybe like if a ball is fumbled, even if it bounces backwards and then like somehow it gets ricocheted for it off a helmet, because it happened to the Panthers ages ago. I think it should just go to the spot that it was fumbled at regardless. I don't think there should be some loophole that the ball can get pushed way forward and you get all that forward progress. I feel like if you're the team that has the ball and you fumble it, it shouldn't actually end up beneficial for you because it goes forward in any way. You know what I mean? Like a fumble is a return to the spot. I feel like that's more fair because a fumble's a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
It is, but we also do the inverse for if it goes into the end zone and then it goes out of bounds, right? Like I think the fumble rules are at least consistent in that way.
I guess.
Where you still get punished if you don't
really
cover it.
Honestly, not the most interesting thing about this game. The most interesting thing about this game was pretty much all rest of it.
They should have moved Jeremiah Smith's fumble back to the 1.
Nonsense, bro. That's different.
Since there is a clear recovery, like just as he
that's different because look at the jersey, look at the logo, look at the helmet. That's a good guy. That's a touchdown.
Okay.
That's a good guy.
Good guy.
It's different because he didn't fumble, you know. So
yeah, none of these fake Amazon Prime, these fake Amazon Prime gimmick jerseys don't deserve an advancement, but good old classic Buckeyes definitely do. Yeah, this was an amazing game, though. Just absolutely game of the year. No question in my mind. Like, I can't even think of another game that got played this year once I think about this one. It's like,
Rams Bills at the start of the season was the other contender for game of the year.
You mean Ravens?
Ravens.
Yeah.
See, we don't even remember. We don't even remember what the fuck happened. Yeah, those two are definitely the craziest. I mean, for the Seahawks to lose the turnover battle 3-0 and allow nearly 600 yards and to be down 15 points and
they were
then throw the
doubled
pick
in time of possession, like at one point in this game, like entering the fourth quarter.
It's a little hard to pinpoint exactly like how that became a winning formula, other than special teams is really important. I mean, the Rams kind of blew some big opportunities. Obviously, they missed a field goal and they didn't score every time they were in the red zone. And then you give up a big punt return. It's like, that's kind of a lot of points right there. And I guess I was just overall like, my thought of the narrative of the game was that Darnold eventually calmed down enough to to get the thing going and to get the wheels back on the bus or whatever. Hits a big throw to basically tie it up or give yourself a chance to tie it up. And then in overtime, I thought he hit some really nice throws outside to drive him down the field and then win it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the big question for Seattle, because right now they're the 1 seed, and they're probably not the betting favorite. I bet you the Rams are still just ahead of them, but they might be. Like, they're 1 or 2. And, I mean, nobody in the AFC looks dominant. Like, it's, again, we've said a million times, it's super wide open. And I think everybody knows, like, the ceiling with them, we talked about the run game in the last episode when we said the issues with contenders, but really the ceiling with them is Darnold. We've seen multiple times that when he goes up against, complicated or confusing defenses, or he gets under a lot of pressure, that he has potential to wilt and throw interceptions and kind of play the Seahawks out of games, even when they try to lean on the run game a lot, right? In this one, I feel like you saw both sides of it early on. Like, I think you could say the slants was at poor spacing, sure, but he misses a defensive tackle dropping and throws an interception there, and he was missing some other throws and doing a poor job dealing with pressure. And then as the game went along, he started stepping up a little bit and playing at a better level and really giving your guys a chance to win and letting JSN start to cook. So if I'm Seattle, like, winning the game is obviously dope because you have a chance at the 1 seed now, and that's a massive advantage. Or you lead for the 1 seed, I should say. But another part of it is seeing Darnold try to step into a bigger role that eventually he's going to have to on some level. So I don't know if it's going to hold up. I'm still pretty worried about him through a playoff run, and I mean, we're just talking about one chunk of a game and really like even just like the fourth quarter and overtime rather than like, oh, we went out here and he looked great against the Rams defense for an entire performance and they went and cleaned up. Like, this was still like, I don't want to say a fluky win because that sounds like I'm just taking everything away from them. And I thought they played well. Their pass rush really started heating up late. Like, they're a great defense. And yeah, Puka went for 225, but dang, he had a heck of a performance. And obviously this Rams team is a buzzsaw, but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, or I'm hopeful that maybe Darnold is showing a little bit of what you need.
Yeah, I think this game, it did show that Sam Darnold can win the big game against the Rams. He can win a game against the Rams. And does it take a very specific set of circumstances? Maybe. But clearly the Seahawks have those circumstances or are capable of creating them. Like, he might need a lot of help, but guess what? This is a defense that can give him a lot of help. Or this is a special teams unit that can give him a lot of help. Or this is, a JSN who can give him a lot of help, or a Kenneth Walker. Like, all that matters is he was the starting quarterback and they won the game. And ultimately, like, that is what the Seahawks will need to do in the playoffs. And they just need to do it 3 times. And at this point, like, the defense and, Shaheed in the return game and the kicking game being so much better than the Rams makes me think, like, yeah, it's absolutely possible for them to, play Philly in Seattle or play LA in Seattle and win those games. If it has to be both of them in a row, it can be both of them in a row. So, yeah, Darnold, he definitely isn't elite, I think, pre-snap versus blitzes. I don't think he's elite post-snap reading coverages, but, when he knows what he's seeing and can settle into the game, like, he can make all the throws. And at the end of the day, like, it might be enough if the defense can play at a really, really high level, which I don't think it totally did in this Rams game. I mean, Puka Nacua, Jesus, had 230 yards, right? Like, one of the just finest wide receiver performances of the year.
Like, I mean, you gave up 600 yards or whatever. So,
yeah, but I think what would encourage me from this defensive performance is, okay, that this was the number 1 most efficient rush team in the league coming into the game. Kyron Williams was averaging nearly 5 yards per carry going into the game. He averaged 3. They averaged under 3 in the second half, the Rams. And the fact that they were able to continually beat the run game back gave them a chance to win this because it forced Stafford to keep throwing, and the misses prolonged the game and gave the Seahawks time to come back. Like, the fact that they are able to stay in their two high shells with Eamon Wari on the field instead of an extra defensive lineman or an extra linebacker and play the run like that gives them the opportunity to come back in these games, even when, 30 points are allowed in the regular time. Right. And one of those, and really only 23 points because Darnold basically threw a pick six and they gave up a 1-yard touchdown. There's not much the defense can do about that. So like, it was a 37-point game for the Rams, but really only 23 of those were allowed by the defense in regulation, right? So I think the Seahawks defense still stood out to me despite all the yards, despite all the points, and I think that maybe they're not Legion of Boom levels, and especially not in this game when Woolen ended up leaving and Eamon Wari ended up leaving, right? So,
yeah,
like, they're not the Legion of Boom, but they are the Legion of really fucking good run fits from two high shells. They are the Legion of two gapping. So someone has to think of a good name for that.
Yeah. No, I think mentioning that the defense being as good as it was at, it's like the Chargers game, right? Remember the Chargers against the Jaguars when they couldn't run the ball, right? This was a team that it was all Herbert hero ball with no good receivers. Like Josh Palmer is the number one, and they allowed the comeback because all they can do is throw these check downs to sort of methodically get down the field. And when you do throw incompletions there, the clock stops and it makes the game longer. I think that's exactly the point that needs to be brought up there. If the Seattle defense can play like this in the playoffs, and we know it can because it is that kind of a defense, yes, it can absolutely go on a run.
Yeah, think about the Eagles last year. I mean, this Seahawks defense reminds me a lot of that Eagles defense and the way it's structured and the way it can play with the defensive tackles.
Yeah.
I will say,
what were you
if
saying,
I'm a Rams fan, I'm going to sit here and be like, that's not going to happen again. We're not losing a game like that again,
especially if Dotson comes back, especially if Kevin Dotson comes back. Him getting stepped on early in the game. I mean, he is their best offensive lineman. And let's see, where is he coming back? Because he did get carted out.
Head coach Sean McVay said Friday that Dodson is nursing a sprained left ankle and is doubtful to play in Week 17 against the Falcons on Monday, December 29th.
Yeah, McVay said he might miss some time. That doesn't sound season-ending or anything, but like they absolutely need Dotson to function. They need Dotson to function. They're such a downhill power team. They need those duo blocks to be cooking, and without Dotson, all of a sudden the line is just not quite at the level it was, and Leonard Williams was just like feasting on the backup, right? So I think if he doesn't get hurt, the Rams probably have enough juice in their run game to win that game. But he did, and they didn't. And I want to say one more thing about this. I think it has a lot to do with the MVP race that game. And I think that we talked about this with Carson, Matt, but it was on Patreon on an NBA episode, so we'll say it on here as well. I don't like Stafford as an MVP. I really don't. I've thought about it. I've mulled it over, and I just am really against it because of really inaccuracy, first and foremost. I think he missed some really open looks under no pressure in this game. His completion percentage was below 60% in a game where they allowed this, big comeback to happen. There were a bunch of second half opportunities for the Rams to put this away, and they didn't. And I think a lot of it just was due to missed throws. And over the last 2 seasons, Stafford just hasn't been on the money with his accuracy. He has not been dialed. I mean, he was outside of the top 30 in 2024 in adjusted completion percentage, which accounts for drops. And this year he's outside of the top 20. So it's been 2 seasons now where you just haven't seen like a really, really accurate Matthew Stafford. And when you combine that with some of I think, he's just older. He's not quite as, dominant under pressure as some other quarterbacks and really the recent MVPs that we've seen. Like when I think about Rodgers winning MVP in 2020 and 2021, I mean, he was top 3 in accuracy and adjusted completion percentage both of those years, right? He wasn't outside the top 20, and I think he was more mobile than Stafford was. And when I look at Mahomes and I look at Allen and I look at Lamar Jackson and the last 3 MVPs, like those guys were really dominant under pressure. I don't think Stafford is necessarily elite at either of those things. I think he's elite at looking off hook defenders and hitting those digs to Puka Nacua.
Sure.
And I think Puka Nacua is really elite at taking those crossers like a really long distance after the catch. And I think it's bad hoops to give MVP to somebody who I don't think is the best player on the offense, because I think Puka Nacua is clearly the best player on the offense. I just don't like it. I don't think Stafford has enough high-end skills to be the MVP. I think he's got a couple really high-end skills. I think he's overall easily a top 10 quarterback in this league, like easily. I still think the Rams are my pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC, and Stafford is at the forefront of my list of reasons why. But I think his case resembles Tua's case, to be honest. And I think Stafford is way clear of Tua, but I don't think that there's no precedent for punishing a quarterback who's kind of good at in-breakers and go routes to one of the top receivers in the world, if not the top receiver in the world. When Tua was doing it to Tyreek Hill, no one had a problem with saying, like, maybe Tyreek Hill deserves MVP. No one had a problem with, like, saying, well, Tua's not really in this conversation because of how good the receivers are and how good the scheme is. No one had a problem with Purdy, with saying that about Purdy. No one had a problem saying that about Goff. I don't have a problem saying it about Stafford over some of the other quarterbacks in the league.
I have a lot of thoughts about that. First off, I know what you mean with the Tua comparison, but like that is not going to get you far on Twitter, man.
I don't care about Twitter.
when people hear that, they're going to think to Tua like throwing lollipops that Tyreek Hill runs under. Now, say what you want about Stafford's accuracy. I don't think you're entirely wrong. It's just not what he's doing, man. I feel like
it's not what he's doing, but I've seen him throw, like, over these last 2 weeks, especially fourth downs, like bad timing throws to Puka Nacua, like out routes thrown behind, hitch routes thrown inside, and Puka still makes those really, really tough catches.
Some of the catches
on fourth down,
that
like
Puka was making were like, dude, that's like nothing from the quarterback and all Puka. And I'm not trying to be. I'm not that quite as low on Stafford as you, but like, you gotta call it like it is with some of the Puka catches.
You gotta call it like you see it. You have to call it like you see it.
And I'm sure anybody listening to this who watched the game, I'm sure anybody who's listening to this who watched the games knows exactly what catches we're talking about. We don't even need to say them. It's like, those are nuts. But I think Stafford is certainly more valuable than Tua. And I also disagree with the idea where it's like, well, nobody was afraid to say blah, blah, blah about like, what, Brock Purdy was about this close to winning MVP, man. He was a game off. So I don't think there's like necessarily no precedent for people to look at a QB like this, especially since I think Stafford's better than both those guys you just mentioned. And I bet you think the same thing and say like, yeah, this guy's got an MVP case. Now, to be clear, I agree that people are really underestimating how good his situation is. I think that people are willing to take that into account for MVP race, but Stafford is kind of a stamped good quarterback, and rightfully so. And I feel like people are more looking for like a guy who's secretly like mid or straight up bad, who happens to be in the perfect situation, rather than a good quarterback or a top 10 quarterback who's being elevated into having like MVP numbers because he's got this great offensive line and these great receivers and this great run game and a great legendary play call. I mean, truly, it's about as good as you can get. I have to say I do agree with the premise. I really wouldn't be mad at a Stafford MVP, but I mean, personally, I think that it's Drake May. I think May has led the Patriots to a super efficient passing offense when they're really not supposed to have one. I don't know. The Patriots right now are still fighting for the 1 seed in a year where we predict them to win 8 games. And I'm not saying that like that means he has to go and get it, or like the reason why we underestimated them is necessarily all quarterback, right? Because sometimes you get just the evaluation of a team wrong. But I really do think a lot of it is like we were hedging our bet. We were worried about being too high on Drake May. We were like, oh, well, we like him, but, we don't want to go out on a limb and say he's going to go be elite this year because we don't know how the situation's going to be. And no, he's going to go be an MVP candidate one way or another. But at the same time, I mean, does he even have 30 passing touchdowns yet? He's going to be battling to get to that number. If he ends with 29 passing touchdowns, I am under no illusion that he has any hope of winning, truly. The counting stats and the issue, it's like we can talk until our faces go blue. And I don't even think Stafford's far off, but like someone's just going to post a graphic from like, StatHead or whatever. And here's Stafford with 45 touchdowns. Here's May with 29. That's over, man. I don't think you can overcome that.
Yeah. I don't think people look. When Stafford ends with 45 touchdowns and 6 interceptions this year and wins MVP, like how can anyone be mad, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I am mad because I think if you look at it beyond the statistics, I don't
disagree with you.
Stafford. I know.
You're just fighting a losing battle, Theo.
I know I'm fighting a losing battle, but I don't think that he's the player that Rodgers was in the early 2020s. And
no,
I think he'd be the weakest pure player to win MVP in a long, long time, honestly.
Maybe. It is going to be sort of a lifetime achievement award.
I know. And I think it will be way more of a sympathy MVP than what Allen got last year. And I think it's bad hoops to give players who are not the best players on their offense the MVP award, which to me is supposed to designate, the most valuable overall player in the league, right? Yeah. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say about most valuable player.
This week had the potential to do the like Lamar Purdy MVP narrative swap where Purdy had an absolute stinker and Lamar went just nuclear. You're putting his highlights to jazz music because it's that beautiful, and he secures the MVP in that week. This week sort of had that possibility with the Rams giving up the 16-point comeback and losing in overtime, and the Rams not being able to hold them off, and Stafford not being able to hold them off. Even though Stafford's numbers were really 450 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right, like the pure counting stats still look fine, and the completion percentage being low in this game, in the grand scheme of the whole season, it might not affect it that much. But then Drake May, I mean, they won against the Ravens, but it was not a pretty win, and Drake May was not super accurate in that game, and we don't have to get into that game against the Ravens right now unless you guys want to.
Why don't we? There's no point.
But he did not play some.
I thought that Drake May played good down the stretch, if I'm being honest with you, man.
He down the stretch he played good, but he was not he did not play a perfect game from start to finish.
He had a tough interception. It wasn't a perfect game. Yeah, I don't have any doubt about that. But he still threw for 380 yards, a season high, and when they needed him to go out and make plays, he very consistently did. The throw to Kyle Williams was fantastic. Anytime he was getting pressure on those final couple of drives, he just did a great job stepping up. I mean, the throw to Bude that was pass interference that didn't get called, that he got out because his feet got taken out from under. That was a nice throw, but it was just like wild to watch him step up and then like reset and hit even go try to make a throw from there. Now, to be fair, Bude worked way back to it. I thought that was, it wasn't like some perfectly pinpoint only one place that you can get it, but when you have such a lead like that, it obviously was a good pass and resulted in a good play downfield for the Patriots that just didn't get called one way or the other, didn't get caught, and it didn't get called PI, even though I think if it wasn't PI and he had been able to land properly, they would have been caught. So
he had a couple of other throws I thought early in the game that weren't interceptions, but were, I thought, relatively easy throws for the most accurate quarterback in football this year that ended up being a good bit behind his receivers and could have been intercepted had the defense been in a better position. And so those kind of things, I'm like, if we're scrutinizing Stafford's accuracy on plays like that, I think it's only fair to be equally scrutinizing for Drake May in that sense. But I agree with you that I would give the MVP to May. I mean, he's Drake, May. You can't. If your own nickname is your name, how are you not the MVP?
Yeah, I mean, they won 4 games last year, and I really do think this roster is average, and I think May is more of a rushing threat. I think he's better under pressure, and I think he's more accurate than Stafford, and his raw numbers, the touchdown to interception rate aren't there, but if you look at the advanced analytics that take into account every play that they make, rushing, third down, right, big plays, like May is right there with Stafford, right? And he's doing it without the best receiver in the league or an offense that allows the least amount of pressure in the league, or an offensive line that allows the least amount of pressure in the league. Now, some of that's the play action scheme. I don't think the Rams really have the best offensive line in the league,
but they have a good offensive line.
They have a good offensive line, and they have Sean McVay, so
right.
And they have 13 personnel play action, which is like, I don't want to hold every little thing against Stafford, like everything good about the offense is just bad, but I just think May is carrying a little bit more.
He is. Yeah, honestly,
I don't think that's a hot take.
If we wanted to really, like Matt, you said they're going to post the graphic with the counting stats. Here's what we need to do. We need to create a cut up of just Drake May pocket movement from the end zone angle. Like if we do that, he's safe to win the MVP.
It ain't overcoming the touchdowns, bro. That's not doing it. I don't know. I just don't have it in me to go to war.
Save us, Orlovsky. Orlovsky, please. I think May had his flaws in this game, but I think at the end of the day, he checked a couple important boxes. He threw for 300 yards, which he hadn't done all year, which was a common strike against his MVP case.
Oh,
and he won a game where he was trailing in the fourth quarter, which I don't know if he's done that in his career, or if maybe he's done it like once out of 13 or so opportunities. I don't have the exact number in front of me. So I think because he checked those boxes, this game is really helpful for his case, and they clinch the playoffs. Of course, they stay ahead of the Bills. If they win the division, that might be a way where he can win over Stafford, no matter what the touchdowns look like. Because if the Rams are second in the division, or they're third, because the 49ers are still knocking on the door somehow, then maybe you could say, well, we don't care about the Devontae Adams fade balls. Like, we care about the fact that May led a worse roster to more wins. And that is a powerful argument in the MVP case historically. And I mean, that the throw to Kyle Williams at the end is crazy. I think May just made so many impressive throws in this game. Like, he's so strong. The way he beats free rushers at him frequently is so impressive. Like, the control he has over the ball, the control he has over the pocket, like, he does look like an MVP, he looks the part when he plays. So despite the gaffes in this game, I do think that they'll be, forgotten in the win. And overall, it was a helpful game for him. As far as the Ravens go, I said they got eliminated earlier this episode. That wasn't true. If they lose another one, though, they're eliminated. If the Steelers win both games remaining, they're eliminated. Basically, the Ravens have to win out and the Steelers have to lose a game, right? So, not looking great for their chances, but we'll see. Lamar suffered a back injury, and Huntley came in, performed okay, but at the end of the day, they fumbled too much. Zay Flowers fumbled away the game again. Mark Andrews tried to throw a backwards lateral that went right to the defense, but it was fortunately for them called back. Derrick Henry fumbled.
Just psychotic. I cannot imagine. Like, I've seen people explain like, oh, maybe he was trying to make something happen towards the end of halftime. There was someone nearby that he was trying to get. I'm like, no, dude. What?
Well, that was what he was trying to do. It's a bad idea, but that was what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I'm like, I get that's what he was trying to do. It's just psychotic.
Right. Yeah, it was a bit ugly. As Mike Tirico said, what is he doing? Yeah.
I just got
The
a
Ravens
Discord message saying Lamar texts his teammates to fumble the ball like Brady used to motivate and text his teammates to play good defense and to carry him. Interesting.
There was a point in this Ravens season where someone's ex like posted on Reddit all of the grievances with this team, and she said like Matt Abike was retired and moved to Texas, which hasn't been like completely corroborated, but like no one in the Ravens organization has denied that. And she also said like, oh, well, nobody likes Harbaugh and they wanted to see him fired for years. And honestly, this team plays like a team that wants their coach fired. Like, they're just dumb. They're like, ball security is just completely non-existent. Like, grit is just like completely non-existent. Like, they just it's like it's an all-star game sometimes with Lamar and these guys. Like, it just it feels like they always make the fatal blunder or are trying to do too much, or like, I don't know. They're just not locked in, and it probably will end up costing the Ravens the playoffs and Harbaugh his job, and maybe it'll get better from there. But like, damn, man, like,
Yeah.
it's.
I mean, if the Ravens miss the playoffs, Harbaugh should definitely be fired.
I would say that would be a time for them to part ways if that's the way if he's like lost the locker room like that post says, the rumors say. Maybe it is just a rumor, but like, man, it seems to be trending that way. And like today,
right,
almost the entire fourth quarter, like the last 11, 12 minutes of the game, Derrick Henry doesn't touch the ball. Like, what is with, he's benched? He was having one of his best games of the year. Like, minus the fumble, I guess.
Yeah,
and maybe you don't trust him.
He sat on the bench by himself and then like went to apologize to Lamar. Like, I don't know what's up, but
exactly. Like, what is going on with him? You don't have him. Lamar's banged up, sick, whatever it is. Like, you don't have a true receiver, one that you can really trust. Like, the defense has no pass rush.
New.
Like, yeah, and it's a lot of these things aren't new. It's just they're all hitting at such the same time right now. Like, the Ravens haven't matched the eye test since week one. You know, since week one, this was a disappointing team. And I really don't think that they're going to, the way the Steelers are playing right now, it seems pretty unlikely that they're going to, you know, pull off this miracle. They're just a shitty team. Like, they just suck. Like, they're not good. I don't know how more plainly to put it. Like, they're just not scary. I think even this practice squad Packers team like can very, very easily beat the Ravens next week and eliminate them. Like, there's just no one who can't go in and win against the Ravens. The Jets played them close.
That's the question is like their remaining games are Packers, Steelers. Like, they're not making the playoffs, dude. I just don't have any faith in them at this point.
Especially if Lamar is out. I mean, Tyler Huntley didn't do a terrible job. I think, you know, part of the offense, honestly, their best offensive game of the season outside of week one was the Bears game with Huntley. Like, not without a doubt in my mind. Like, he can still move the ball with his legs. They still had some nice scheme with Likely as a lead blocker and like Linderbaum out in space and Zay Flowers on the end around. Like, there's some nice things about this team and some of the weapons, but like they were not locked in this year from the very beginning.
Here's the other thing. I'm glad you brought up Likely, dude. What is he just like not on the team anymore? Like, why is he just like non-existent from this offense the last couple of weeks?
I mean, he fumbled against the Bengals,
like,
and he's unreliable now, I guess. And
okay,
I mean,
like Mark Andrews is about as
Mark
unreliable
Andrews
as it gets. He's on the field. Yeah, like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, when you want Ricard out there and you want Henry out there and you want Andrews out there, like, and you need some receiving threats out there. Like, there's just, I guess he's just been phased out a little bit. And Charlie Kolar is legitimately a fantastic blocker at the tight end position as well. So like, yeah,
that's true.
So there's all these kind of fun little blocking weapons down the depth chart that they've got. And likely is probably not going to get a contract with them. He's going to leave.
Yeah,
and
no,
he's just on the
likely he's
outside
not
looking
going
in.
to be on the team next year, dude. That much is very clear.
Yeah, yeah, and this might be his last 2 games as a Raven. It's sad. It's sad. Marlon Humphrey isn't the same. There's a lot wrong.
Yeah, it's just it's a broken team.
Yep.
So
cue the music.
Cue the music. Steelers though beat the Lions, held on, and we want to talk about weird calls that happened over this weekend of football. Couple of offensive pass interference calls. Everyone is making me feel like I'm crazy. I thought these were like perfectly reasonable flags to throw.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I have thoughts about
definitely.
both of them. The second one,
Okay.
that one was absolutely no doubt an offensive pass interference. I think it's within the realm of like you've seen that type of contact not get called, but like you watch that, like, sorry, dude, that's totally a valid flag. I don't care about the situation. That's not some like ticky tack whatever. It was offensive pass interference and it set up the throw.
You like squared up, double extended. Like, no, dude, yeah, that's OPI.
Now the call itself on the entire play was hilarious, dude. I mean, good on Amon-Ra for thinking to lateral that back to Goff, and that would have been a hilarious way to end the game. But the refs going in to that huddle for so long and then coming out and being like, the result of the play is a touchdown. However, penalty on you guys. We can't review it. We can't review it, and the game is over. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. No, but this is where Lions fans, quite frankly, I think took a win off the board for Detroit. Because the refs were in that huddle and they started booing. Bro, the refs were like 50-50 on who they were going to give the win to, and you start booing them while they're in the huddle? If I was one of those refs, bro, I would have been like, oh, yeah, fine. You guys lose by 100
Fuck
now.
you guys. You don't even know what we're saying.
Going on? No. You got to start chanting,
so
we refs. We love you, refs.
Yeah. We love refs. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. I think they got the call wrong because I think Amon-Ra's forward progress was like way stopped. Like, how many yards does he need to be driven backwards for his forward progress to stop? Because Amon-Ra could start running backwards back towards his own end zone and keep the play alive as long as he wants. Like I definitely think he got stuffed at the 1 and continue to get stuffed for like another second or two. I maybe I'm salty because the Packers have probably been on a few too many, the receiving end of a few too many like piles where like the offense gets the better of the Green Bay defense. But it's like, I'm getting kind of sick of some of these pile pushes, like resulting in like huge gains of yardage when it's just like a total stand up for a while.
I mean, we
could be a little bit more quick to call forward progress stopped.
We've seen it get called way quicker than that. And like, I get the situation. You want to let it play out a little bit, but come on, dude. Like, they let that shit play out so long.
But it definitely was OPI, like 100%. Both of them were. And the Lions, the Packers, we needed a win. All right. I'm being biased. I don't care. All right. Lions fans, you can turn this off right now because I'm just saying, like, this has been such a nightmare 2 weeks that I was glad to see something.
Which team would be more interesting to see in the playoffs right now, the Lions or the Packers? Let's be
clearly agreed.
All right, man.
We can't make
clearly Green Bay.
Asking Theo, would you rather see the Packers or the Lions? I will say this. I kind of thought that you could make an argument that Tesla kind of got like routed a little bit into the defender. Like there was a little bit more contact than I thought on my first viewing. I get why they threw the flag. I don't know. I thought it was like, all right, I see it. I see it, but it is what it is,
I mean, this is the thing: is if you get 40 million replay attempts to look at it, you might come to different conclusions. But in real time, my first thought was like, oh yeah, dude, like he's not even trying to run a route. He's just like setting a pick.
This was a hilarious game though overall. Like the Lions possessed the ball for 51 seconds in the entire third quarter. The Seahawks had over 14 minutes of time of possession. And the Steelers' offense right now, it is getting hot at the right time. Like, I don't know if they have a Super Bowl ceiling or anything, but like they played the Bills. The third quarter discrepancy there a couple of weeks ago, Bills 134 yards, the Steelers 3. And then today it's the Steelers getting 142 yards to Detroit's -3. So like it was maybe an exercising of some demons there for Pittsburgh, like being able to control the ball and run the ball like that over 200 yards on the day. Kenny Gainwell made like a just ridiculous catch up the sideline. Like the running back duo is looking good. I think Zach Frazier is unbelievable.
He's so
level good. He's so good. So they got a couple really nice offensive linemen, a couple nice running backs. And I think Rodgers is just like, I'm going to say the Bo Nix thing. He's like focused and relaxed and like having fun. Like body language is just completely different than where it was at the beginning of the season. I think toughness is at a different level than where it was at the beginning of the season with him, like getting up after hits, like protecting himself through contact. Like I just think he's just notably more confident than he's been recently. And yeah, now they did all that in the third quarter and they scored 0 points because Washington fumbled, so they didn't actually get any points for how much they dominated.
Outside of that, their tight ends have been like as good as they could possibly be. Like, probably the best tight end group in the NFL, or the best tight end trio in football right now, with Freiermuth, Washington, and Jonnu.
Yeah, and the way they all kind of fill their roles, like I think Freiermuth is a really good receiver, and Washington's a really, really good blocker, and Jonnu Smith has his fly sweeps and had a couple of them today. Like they all do kind of complement each other well. Is it the best offense that you could possibly build?
No,
not quite. But they still have pass rush juice after puncturing TJ Watt's lung, I guess, and them and their juggernaut tight ends are their Rolodex of tight ends is like, I guess, somewhat effective. So
yeah,
I don't think you can totally write them off. Any kind of team getting hot at the right time. And I think like this is just kind of a scary version of Rodgers when he's dialed deep and when he's reading the field like he is. Like again, I don't think he's as good as Stafford right now. I still don't think he's that strong in the pocket overall. I think he's just regressed so much in that area. But like, he is the best. He is kind of playing that who's still got it type ball right now, and he's definitely the best quarterback the Steelers have had since Big Ben retired, or Big Ben became washed, because he's less washed than Big Ben was at the end.
Definitely. I mean, it's super low bar, but I mean, Rodgers had one throw to DK Metcalf on the sideline. I mean, he threw it basically as soon as Metcalf got off the line. And I'm just like, if he's going to be operating with that kind of timing, it's going to be
He had
hard.
a dime to MVS that got dropped too.
Yeah.
Up the sideline. Like they've been good deep. They've been explosive deep. He's been targeting the middle of the field, intermediate ranges. Like, yeah, he's been good. He's been really good.
Yes, he has. How concerned are you about the Lions right now?
I mean, pretty concerned. They're probably going to miss the playoffs if they lose one more game or Green Bay wins one more. They're in kind of the same situation as the Ravens. So, like, yeah, I'm obviously their season is on life support. As far as their like future goes, I don't know. I think they're just a team. Like, they're just a team that is so banged up across all levels that it's like, I feel like they can become good again somewhat quickly. Like, this is such a tight NFC, and just
They're
I
no
don't know.
more
I
than a
mean,
good
yeah,
draft away. They have their issues, but they're banged up.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not exceedingly worried about their future. Obviously, it's a bad year, and you've had some bad breaks. Early retirement gets you whatnot. Hutchinson, I still think, is working back from a brutal injury and whatnot. I wonder if he could come back and be better next year. So there's all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not exceedingly worried about
it's
their
definitely
future.
a better luck next year type situation. Like, I just don't feel like what's a team that I just like really hate where they are next year? Like, oh my God, it's looking very over. Like, even the Chiefs, I feel like are in a worse situation than the Lions are, where it's like, I really think if there's a big trade, the Lions make a good draft that they have. Like, they really do have all the high end talent that they need, but they've just been so unlucky over the last 2 years. So unlucky.
Yeah. Not having Brian Branch makes your defense somewhat, it's not like unworkable, but I mean, he's your fierce goat flying around. So not having him really sucks. I thought Jared Goff played a pretty great game. I had a tweet queued up for like when they if they ended up pulling off the comeback. I was like, it's not Garrett Goff, it's not Jared Goof. That's Jared fucking Goff, dude. Because I thought he was
yeah.
I thought he was playing his ass off. He looked really, really calm for a lot of this one.
I think Jared Goff, I've definitely gained respect for Jared Goff in the last couple seasons, or in the last couple weeks here. Like, looking at Stafford's adjusted completion, I noticed that Goff is number 1 in that stat this year. And he played the Rams defense with all those different coverage, rotations, all the things that got Sam Darnold on Thursday night. Like, Goff played a really masterful game. He made some great throws under pressure versus the Cowboys to beat them, when I thought Quinnen Williams was really playing a good game, and Goff was kind of the one to mitigate that with getting rid of the ball. Like, he was so bad against pressure early in the season against the Packers, against, I think, the Vikings. He really was getting caved in, and some of his numbers there were really bad. And I was like, oh, maybe he just lost the little bit of escapability that he had. But I think that was maybe too harsh. I think Goff is still playing as well as he ever has in Detroit. And I think like he can continue to be a big reason why they're an elite offense next year. I think he'll always be a little limited.
Best football in Detroit right now. I think
over the last month or so.
The main problem you see with their offense right now is just the drops, dude. Like, Amon-Ra, like, can't catch the past few weeks, it seems. He's supposed to be like one of the most sure-handed, like, that's supposed to be his thing. Like, he's the reliable guy that can be slippery after the catch, and he just hasn't been able to catch.
No, Laporta sucks ass. No, Laporta sucks too. Like, we already talked about the injuries.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Get him. It does. Shall we move on to the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears, Theo? I know you watched this one.
These last 2 weeks feel like a bad fucking dream, man.
Do they?
Yes. Like,
yeah, I vividly remember, we did our last episode about issues with contenders, and swore up and down that we had to do the Packers, Well,
I told you, if you watch Micah get hurt and then we're like, this is a good time to buy low on the Packers championship odds, like, you're an idiot. And I really, when I locked the Bears, I meant it. And it was a valiant effort. And it's like, I'm not too mad about that. Like, I really wish they recovered that onside kick and didn't blow a fucking 99.1 chance to win in the last 3 minutes of the game. But, like, man, they're so snake bitten, and they were controlling that game for so long. I can't help but feel like a little bit proud, which keeps me off like suicide watch this week, I guess. But, like, Jesus Christ, man, catch the onside kick, man. Like, oh my God. Hafley was in his bed. He responded appropriately to the Micah injury with the blitzes he was dialing up, and they were able to challenge Caleb enough and force enough incompletions that, like, they weren't able to score early. I was on the train traveling yesterday, so, like, I was kind of in and out of this one for the strategy, but, Like it seemed like it's like, okay, it seems like Halfley is doing a good job, and man, it sure sucked to lose him to a head coaching gig next year, right? That was kind of my thought. But at the end of the day, like these corners are just not good. Like Nixon is allowed like almost a perfect passer rating when targeted these last 2 weeks, and it's a shame because he really is a little underrated sometimes. Like his pick in the last Bears game saved the season essentially, and he had a game against Washington early in this year when like Washington was still kind of at full strength and like absolutely balled out. It's like he's kind of an X factor instead of like just a negative all the time. But like, man, when he's bad, it's bad. And they just lack physicality. They lack size on the back end or on the sideline because I like the safety duo. And Jordan Morgan can't really play right now, which sucks. And that was a bad draft pick. And 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, like whether or not you kind of cause some chaos with blitzes and throwaways with blitzes, like eventually that you got to create big negative plays and they just can't do it. So yeah, it'll be a struggle for them. They're going to have to put up just a ridiculous amount of points to go on any kind of run. And that's just not super possible with Willis, I think. Certainly I like him as the backup for sure and what he can do with his legs, but like getting into an overtime situation or getting into a situation where like we need to be in field goal range in 22 seconds, like it's like Willis is not going to probably do this. So
I thought Willis played well in the same way that Huntley can play well sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
you don't prep for that kind of speed and elusiveness, and all of a sudden he comes in and things are starting to kind of happen like on the ground. It's like, okay, you can finagle this.
Right. But yeah, to do that for the last 2 games of the season when you're trying to like make a playoff push, it's not where you want to be.
No.
So.
And then shout out Caleb Williams. That last throw.
Oh my God, that throw was out of this world. Out of this world. Which is like, that's really Matt, you've brought this up so many times about how like if he just scrambles to his right every play, he's probably the greatest quarterback of all time. So.
He had some good throws within the pocket too. It was kind of a mix. I mean, obviously he's rolling out like crazy or whatever, but I don't know. You just see a lot of the really high level stuff with Caleb start to come along here this season. And I think, with the run game being what it is and with him just getting more reps and more time, I feel better and better about his ability to start reaching, the ceiling that we had hoped he would have. And the expectations for him were super high for a good reason. This is a major prospect. So I'm not going to like lie and say I'm like getting like really excited for it, because if Caleb starts like getting really sick and becoming too good, then it becomes a whole like, who traded away that pick again type situation, which I feel like we've avoided for a couple of years, not thinking too much about. But like I'm rooting for Caleb and DJ Moore and all those guys.
Yeah,
that was an awesome play.
Yeah. It's good to have one player on each rival's squad that like you have somewhat of an agenda for. So like you can at least say I'm leaving with something when like you lose a game like this. And for me, that's like Caleb Williams on the Bears. Like to me, I had accepted my fate when the Bears got this pick, like, and they were able to get Caleb Williams, like I kind of knew in the back of my mind when they picked him, watching him at USC, like eventually he's going to hit a sick post route on us to win the game when he's under pressure. Cause like, he's just that level of prospect. And we got 1 year as a rookie and really even most of this year where he's still a bit inconsistent, but like it's not going to be that way forever. And I'm just glad that we have a quarterback who can sort of match him, right? Or I think not more than sort of match him. Who can match him? So we're in a better situation than like the Vikings, perhaps, and I'm grateful for that. But at the end of the day, the Bears won a lot when they selected him, and it is nice to see some of these results show through because he was such a sick prospect. The tying touchdown, I was wide open in the back of the end zone, right? So yeah, it's wide open. But the reason it's wide open is because it's 4th down. Caleb's under pressure. The entire defense takes away the check down, and then Caleb throws that to the corner, like under major pressure, fading away. like it was wide open because they took away the easy throw and Caleb made a really, really, really hard one. I was like, who the fuck is that? Why does he have more touchdowns than Matthew Golden now on the season? 0 receiving yards for Matthew Golden. I don't know. I don't understand why, really.
Have you guys noticed that Matthew Golden, his name on ESPN is always like highlighted in gold? I don't know why.
It should be highlighted in poop, bro. He's got 0 yards receiving.
I assume it's just like a style sheet like error. They've got something where it's like, oh, if this ID or if this name matches this, then highlight it in this. But
yeah,
I'd have to check that.
Shout out Matthew Golden. Shout out TJ Edwards for his tackle on Malik Willis in overtime on that 3rd down. That was absolutely textbook. The Bears defense is pretty ass. It has no speed in the pass rush. It has no speed in the secondary, and I live by that. So that'll probably get him eventually. But like Edmonds and TJ Edwards are like a really cool linebacker duo this year. So shout out those guys for kind of holding it down the best way that they can with a lot kind of going on around them. Shout out Grady Jarrett. We couldn't really block him, and Unk still got it, I guess. So yeah, I'm not salty. I love the Chicago Bears.
Hard not to right now. Matt, you mentioned that people are going to start talking about who made that trade so that the Bears could get Caleb Williams. Who did make that trade?
The Carolina Panthers, who won today and took the lead in the NFC South. I'm not going to spend too long on this because we've talked a lot of Panthers football.
How about the Buccaneers?
And I'll talk about the Buccaneers too. I have some things to say about them as well. I thought that Bryce played an excellent game. I think he's done a way better job dealing with pressure. I think specifically he's done a better job not going down over people putting one hand on him. And I know that sounds like it's a very low bar to clear, and in some ways it is, but it allows him to unlock a lot when he can fight through even a baseline level of contact. I feel like he's more confident. He's making guys miss. The touchdown throw that he had getting through traffic, I thought for sure he was got, and he did a great job just keeping it alive and keeping his eyes up. That's one of his best traits, is he can be running towards the line of scrimmage. He can be doing whatever, and he still has great feel and understanding of where everybody is. So there were a couple of plays today where I was like, dang, that's kind of a first overall pick type of play. I was really excited about him. And frankly, he has now started to string together some games where I'm like, man, that's pretty good. I don't want to call anything yet, but a couple of weeks ago, we discussed what should the Panthers do with Bryce Young? And we're like, well, it's kind of in this weird borderline area. And it's really you need to see how the finish of the season is. So far, the finish of the season has been really, really strong. And the passing numbers aren't crazy, but I thought he made a lot of really, really good throws. And if Leggett didn't have a couple of really bad drops, his numbers probably would be even better. Shout out Tommy Trimble for some great blocks today. I will say this about Tampa. A couple of things. Baker played incredibly poorly, if I'm going to be honest with you. Big part of the reason why the Panthers won this game is because a team that isn't great rushing the passer typically was able to send extra guys, and I feel like Baker did a really bad job dealing with those pressure looks. Yeah. It felt like any time that we got somebody home, even if they didn't come up with Baker immediately, even if they just made a move off of his spot, it's we could so often convert that into an actual sack. Not even a throwaway, not even a bad pass, but really convert it into a sack. Now, he did have a moment where he may have scampered off for a 40-yard gain on a very crucial drive, to be fair. So I'm sure his EPA under pressure is actually going to be not that bad or whatever, but there were multiple drives at Tampa Bay. Yeah, the success rate's not great. I'm sure there were multiple drives that were ended by that. And on the other end, there was a really, really poor coaching decision by Todd Bowles. 12 seconds left. The Panthers are at the Buccaneers 25. they have been playing this drive scared to give the ball back to Tampa at the start, and which is like fair. It's like, you want to make sure you get the ball last and you have that advantage or whatever. 12 seconds left at Buccaneers 25, no timeouts. And they'd already like kind of been in this no timeout situation and just dunked it down twice. And Tampa decides to show cover 0 and then send cover 0. And Bryce just floats an easy one-on-one. I mean, it was a good throw and catch, but I mean, an easy one-on-one touchdown for McMillan. I understand what Bowles was trying to do, right? Like, you get a sack, you take 3 points off the board, or a chance at 3 points off the board. But like, man, when they line up to throw a pass with 12 seconds, they're ready to get the ball out quick. And really what they're going to try to do is take a shot at the end zone where they throw it through the back of the thing, and they're like, whatever, we'll just live not to take a sack and not to do anything like that. I just don't think you can show that you're sending this big blitz and say like, well, that gives us a one-on-one that we want. I'm just going to instantly take it because of course I am. I thought it was way too aggressive in that situation. I think you play over the top and I don't know, you could just as likely you could try to limit them to, not letting them get out of bounds. They think they can, and you get them that way. Or even if they take a field goal, you'd still be up going into half. So, I mean, it was a 3-point game. That was a 4-point swing right there. I thought it was really rough.
Right. No, I think it's very interesting because to me it signaled that they thought that Bryce would panic under that blitz.
Yeah, but did they watch the film on the Rams game? Like, this isn't
Clearly
rookie year
not.
Bryce. This isn't rookie year Bryce when he would just fold under any kind of 0 and you could just send that all day. Like, he's getting it up because he has Ted McMillan. And Ted McMillan green released the route and the catch, and the throw is great from Bryce. I think the big story in this game was definitely the discrepancy of blitz success from both offenses. Like, when Tampa blitzed, Carolina was really ready for it. They had that touchdown before half. They had a huge conversion on 3rd and 4 to Coker up the right sideline, where Coker ran a beautiful route, like beautiful throwing catch again on a go versus the blitz. But what allowed it to hit was like the running back and pass protection, everybody, being one-on-one on the offensive line and winning. Then when the Panthers send a blitz, like, they twist it and just no one on the Bucs can do anything about it, including Baker Mayfield, who just takes a sack. Like, that to me was the key. Was, man, these Panthers blitzes are getting home and Baker can't do anything about it. The Tampa blitzes are telegraphed, they're getting blocked up, and Bryce is just better under pressure than Baker is. Like, that Bryce touchdown that you talked about earlier, Matt, like, it's one of his best throws ever, and it's just one of the best displays of pocket management that I've ever seen. Like, it's not always that way with Bryce, but that specific play, the way he kind of set up the step up in the pocket, then escaped around the outside, and then his ability to kind of get downhill through the tiniest crease around the stunt, like, that's an example of Bryce just floating through the pocket, like, too small, like a just like a fly, like an insect, like just too small, too agile, too fluid to do anything about it. Like, it was gorgeous against man coverage. It bought enough time for Tremble to get open in the end zone. It was like, it was a mind blowing little display. And then you watch Baker try to make somebody miss, and he just like tucks his head and like falls forward for as long as he can. It's like, Jesus, like, it's just a difference in ability.
Yeah, so I mean, like, Baker is always up and down with that stuff, and I mean, right now
he had some nice runs today. Like, he had some big runs today, but
he had some big runs. I mean, the one on the final drive was back-breaking, and he's, again, like, there will be stretches of games where Baker is getting real choppy in the pocket and then finding a way out and making something happen, and then there will be stretches of games where the results look a little bit more like how the process looks, is how I'll put it, where he gets choppy and then, doesn't escape or doesn't keep his eyes downfield. I think in this game you did see a little bit of both, but you saw, I think, more drives probably end than be extended by those moments. And I don't know. I just felt like towards the end of the game, I was like, guys, just like let's blitz, let's blitz, let's blitz. That was just my feeling as a fan watching as much as anything. I just wanted to see him like, let's go after him and try to end this thing. So, yeah, I was super, super pumped to watch Bryce play like that and really be a driving force for the offense. I mean, truly he was. So I want the Panthers to get another pass catcher and see where this thing can go next year.
Yeah,
that's my hope. But
maybe a pass rusher too.
Yes, I was thinking we invested in both of those spots, and Scorton played a great game for the record, and McMillan played a great game for the record. And I'm like, I could use another edge rusher and another pass catcher if we can do it.
Yeah, Scorton did play a great game. He had a run stuff in the backfield where he like went around somebody and then like dove backwards to make the tackle. That was just like unbelievable, unbelievable spill.
Oh yeah, must be nice to watch your team win. I know Theo and I didn't get to do that, and Myles Garrett also didn't break the sack record today. So now I guess. I know. He'll just have to do it against the Steelers, and that'll be
Mr. Rogers getting the ball out in 1 second. Like
that's the thing. I don't know, man. I was hoping that the Steelers did
3 tight end formation. Yeah,
I was hoping the Steelers did clinch the playoffs so that it could just be Rudolph in there, and then Myles Garrett could wreak havoc on Mason Rudolph for 4 quarters. So. But that's probably not going to happen now. So it's okay, though. It's okay. Last game I think we should talk about is Jaguars Broncos. This one I thought got off to I had 2 tweets lined up. The first was Trevor Lawrence. They were both Trevor Lawrence versus Bo Nix. But at first I was going to do Tom Brady and Peyton Manning because I was like, dude, Bo Nix is still kind of on this like cool, calm, collective heater that he's been on as of late. And then the second half rolled around and Denver really just kind of fell apart. And so I ended up posting it as Tom Brady and Tim Tebow instead of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that's a big fall from grace and a half.
It is a big fall from no, but Trevor Lawrence probably played. Is it crazy to say the best game of his career, Theo?
I think statistically and given the stakes, no, it's not crazy to say that. Trevor Lawrence is getting hot at the right time, man. Like, there are things about Trevor Lawrence that are super, super special, like super special. The fact that he's 6'6" and as slippery as he is, like the way he cuts and slithers through pressure, like it. He had some plays that looked like that Bryce Young play that I just glazed, like where it's just like, man, he's just too fluid. He's too nimble. But like Bryce is 5'10" and Trevor Lawrence is 6'6". Like there's truly, he's the type of fluid athlete at such a size where I'm like, he reminds me a little bit of some of like an SGA. Like I know the results aren't there, but like just the pure weird athleticism that he has when you look at somebody with the size and build and fluidity and like long levers that he has, it's wild to watch. It was wild to me to watch in this game. Like the first big play that they had, he was rolling out to the left. He throws it kind of across his body back right to Parker Washington in tight coverage.
Nuts.
Not the touchdown. It was on the first touchdown drive. It was early in the game. It was really the first big play that they had because he's kind of getting killed the first quarter, and then things kind of broke open with that play. Like it's just wild what he's able to do. I mean, his Bo Nix also has some ridiculous flexibility and elasticity, but he just doesn't have the arm that Trevor has. He doesn't have the length in his limbs and the levers to drive the ball. I feel like Trevor's just such an insane athlete. I think he's getting more and more comfortable in a very wordy scheme here with Liam Cohen. I think he's got a lot of control at the line of scrimmage these days, and the Jaguars just aren't fucking up as much now that Jacoby Myers is in there. Like,
thank God.
Yeah, thank God. I think with a quarterback playing at this level and a head coach who's like clearly really gifted at generating offense with scheme and just an offense that has a large repertoire of plays they can always kind of cycle through in terms of just runs and passes, honestly, like, and all the different things about their offense they're able to weaponize. Like, I think they're Super Bowl contenders, man. I think this game established them as Super Bowl contenders 110%. And really, I felt it last week when they just killed the Jets. And I know that was the Jets, but like Lawrence played so good in that game where and when I was watching the film, like I was just so impressed with some of the throws where I'm like, he's gonna give Denver like a real run for their money next week. And he did. So like that to me, like just check the box of like, okay, Trevor Lawrence is here. And since the Jacoby Myers trade, he's the number one quarterback in the league in success rate and a top 5 in EPA. Like if he's playing at a top, he can establish himself as a top 5 quarterback this playoffs. I think it can easily happen.
It wouldn't be unthinkable, Matt. You tweeted that this is the most.
It is a heck of a bar.
Like anyone could win this AFC. So
I said somebody has to win this AFC. Somebody in this or I said somebody in this AFC has to be in the Super Bowl. Because I think everybody's a little bit goofy right now. Maybe that's just like a nothing tweet or whatever. But
it could be it could be Jacksonville though.
It totally could be Jacksonville. I mean, we talked early in the season about them a lot, and I feel like the conclusion was always, well, they're good, but the passing game has to come together. And then we got it to a point where it's like like, okay, well, when is that actually going to happen? Because we're just sitting around here like watching week after week, and like they didn't have a bad like winning record or anything, but it's like you could tell like it was a lot of one score, and you need Lawrence to be playing at a high level because you're paying him a high amount of money, and that's your QB and whatnot. And after the Myers trade, like it's frustrating that they went and they spent to go get Travis Hunter, and that they have Brian Thomas Jr. and that they still needed another receiver on top of that, especially when you already have Parker Washington who's playing well. Like hypothetically, you would be kind of set in the receiver room, but good on them for taking it, saying, well, if Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be an issue this year and Travis Hunter is going to be out, like we're not going to just sit on our hands. I think it's been an absolutely massive difference maker for them. And we'll see if Lawrence keeps this up or if it's just a hot streak, because you see this type of stuff from time to time. But I don't know how you wouldn't be super excited about Jacksonville, who I think is like a pretty decent team all around now, having this type of play out of the quarterback.
Yeah, and I love this for Jacoby Myers. I can't imagine a more deserving I can't imagine a more deserving receiver to be having this type of success right now. Like he's just been so reliable, and to now be able to showcase that on a playoff team is so huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's substituting him in for Diami Brown changed everything. I talked about it on TikTok, but like Diami Brown has like a 54% completion rate when he's targeted, and like it was like 77% for Jacoby Myers or something like that. Just a huge swing in how often those guys are catching the ball when you throw it to them. And yeah, I'm excited about the Jaguars. I'm excited. They got the edge rush duo. They've got a pretty strong tackling secondary that plays zone and rallies. Oluokun and Lloyd are a really strong linebacker duo that kind of sets them apart from other teams in the league who maybe don't have that kind of linebacker play. Like they had a fourth downs that I thought was a stuff on RJ Harvey early in the game that didn't end up being a stuff they gave him the first, but I wasn't convinced he got there, where they just like stacked and shed offensive linemen at such a strong level, both of those linebackers at the same time. I thought it was kind of a beautiful play. So yeah, I think Jacksonville, you say top 5 is a high bar, Matt, and it is, but like the way Lamar played this season, like maybe you'd put him at 6 or something if like Trevor Lawrence goes on a crazy run and you say like, I'd like to see Lamar bounce back. And then there's, Burrow and his injuries and he hasn't necessarily played at the most elite level this season. And then it's like, well, if he's not usurping Allen, he's not usurping Mahomes. Well, Mahomes maybe misses next season. He's not usurping Allen. Maybe 2 is up for grabs in this playoffs.
So it's Allen, May,
Herbert. It's Allen, Herbert,
May, Trevor Lawrence.
I think the way Lawrence is playing right now, like kind of can put him on the level of May. Like I don't think those two have to be like in different worlds.
He's been balling. It's a really small sample size, though, man.
Yeah,
You know, like
it really
it's
is.
not impossible for guys to have stretches. I'm not even making a prediction on how the future will go for Lawrence, but like I think about like Jordan Love, who's a good quarterback, who's a very good quarterback, but had a stretch of like 8 games in the back half of that first season where you're like, oh my god, and then it didn't necessarily snowball into him becoming like a top 5 quarterback right away. I also disagree with the logic of like
Yeah,
if Mahomes misses like the first 4 weeks of next year, we're bumping him out of our top 5.
They got blown out.
You have
They got
to,
blown
though.
out by the Titans today without him. Like, I don't want
That
to
is
be a
just-
Mahomes slanderer, I promise. But yeah, like Mahomes being like on pup for the first month of next year, like probably won't.
And Lamar and Burrow have been.
I'm probably taking him over Trevor.
I think all of those guys have taken over Lawrence unless he plays like the best like playoff run.
I'm just saying, like, yeah,
that.
But that's what I'm saying.
He can
like,
work himself into the top 10. He can be
he
like
can work himself into
the top 10, I think. And maybe you could say
I think
it would even be a nice take to be like, okay, if Lawrence keeps playing like this and he has a playoff run like this, he'll be in, would we rank him over a Dak? But I don't know if we even need I don't know if like pretending Lawrence has like let's preemptively say he has a great run and where would he rank is like a productive conversation, frankly.
Sure. If he just has the potential to rank incredibly highly, I think. And
he's got a lot of
starting to he's tapping into that in a really real way at a really real time of year right now, which is exciting. Now he's been 10 times more inconsistent than Drake May, who has just like been Mr. Reliable so far this season. Like his worst performance is just against the Steelers is definitely his worst performance. But like overall this season, I think he's been really, really steady. And Lawrence has just not been steady. He's thrown passes 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. He's made a bunch of goofy ass mistakes. Right. He's thrown ridiculous interceptions and taken sacks like no way he should take. I mean, the first 9 weeks of the season before the trade, he was only above Cam Ward in like the RBSDM composite metrics. Like he's terrible efficiency, and now it's elite. So like
respect Cam Ward. He's gone 3 straight games with 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he could play. Lawrence could play the Texans and have the Herbert 4 interception game, and then I'm stuck all off season being like, well, I don't care about these 1 playoff sample sizes. That's probably more likely than him establishing himself as like a consensus top 5 quarterback. But like, I just want to put it out there that like the way he's playing right now, the Jaguars are really serious threats. And yeah, I could see them going up against the Texans and winning because that's happened this season with Lawrence. And then they lost the second one, but they put up a good amount of points. So I don't know.
Sure. Bang.
Yeah, and then beating Denver also opened the door for
Denver's a really good
get
defense.
The 1 seed.
There we go. Come on.
So this is also
potential
helping May's MVP case.
Well, it opens the door for the Jaguars to get the 1 seed too.
I suppose it does.
Come on, Trevor, 1 seed, snatching like MVP at the last second. Come on.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm pretty sure. I
think they're playing the Colts and the Titans these next 2 weeks. I mean, they could win those games by a combined 50 points, I think, pretty easily. Like, those are 2 easy games for them. So
you'd hope.
So. You'd hope. That's the consistency. If they can win the easy ones.
My phone is about to burn all of the skin off of my hand and explode and kill me.
Okay.
Because I've been on Riverside for the last 2 hours.
Luckily, I think this is the end of the episode.
Amazing.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Stay Hot. We hope you all have a wonderful holiday, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. We will be doing a live stream on Saturday afternoon for what is, I believe, Texans Chargers. That'll be a fun game. And we hope to see you all there. We hope to see you on the Stay Hot Patreon for all sorts of auxiliary NFL content, draft content, NBA content. And then we'll be back next week to recap week 17 of the NFL season. But until then, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot, we will catch you on the flippity flop.